I'm gonna tweet out the stream here in a second. We should be live. All right. All right, it looks like we are officially live. What's up, guys? It is Jack, and welcome back. And this weekend, well, this particular episode, we're going to be focusing on E3 2023 and the showcases, upcoming games that are very widely anticipated. Shroud recently announcing that he is creating a game as well, which I think anybody could have seen that coming sooner or later, and more. And I think I've got a name for the podcast. It's called the X Play-Doh Podcast. A little bit of Xbox, a little bit of PlayStation, a little bit of Nintendo thrown into one word. Go figure. And I'd like to welcome my co-host, Laura. How are you?
Oh, doing good, thanks. How you doing?
Good. Thank you for joining me as always. RMD may come on here, but he's going to pop up whenever he can. I guess he's still busy doing some other stuff, but I told him he can pop in as soon as he can. So hopefully he does before we close it tonight, but we still got tomorrow and the next day. So, all right. So, got a couple of interesting topics today. I want to start out with E3 2023. So, E3 2023, well, as we know, E3 is not exactly quite what it used to be. They're just kind of doing showcases now because a lot of these big companies, no matter how much money they have, they're actually saving money by having what's it called? By having their showcases online as opposed to like having one big event or whatever you want to call it. So, um, and then there's a bunch of games that are going to be coming out. So, as far as games, in terms of the background, I wanted to go old school retro today, and I wanted to talk about Mario's, and I wanted to show Mario 64 because, well, who doesn't love watching a little bit of Mario 64?
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty much the start of everything. Mario 64, when that game came out, it was really something. Everybody wanted an N64 just because of that game alone, and you couldn't blame them. So, all right, so with E3 2023, I want to talk about some of the most anticipated games. Now, I looked at a list earlier, and I'm going to talk about some of these games one at a time. So, obviously, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order was very, very popular. Like, it was that Star Wars game that pretty much was made by Respawn, and it was very successful, and a lot of players really loved it. Everything from the story as well as how it played and everything. So I know that RMD would definitely want to talk about that one, but can't go wrong with a new Star Wars game coming up. And you got Redfall. We're going to be talking about Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, Diablo 4, Street Fighter 6, RoboCop Rogue City, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, Stalker 2, Starfield, and I got a few more games here. Oh, yeah, Spider Man 2, Alan Wake 2, Aliens Dark Descent, Assassin's Creed Mirage, and Mortal Kombat 12. Now, the most interesting thing about all this is that we are in the year 2023 and a new Mortal Kombat and a new Street Fighter are going to be released at the same year. And Laura, do you recall last week when I was talking about that there could be the possibility that Mortal Kombat is doing something else, which is partially the reason why it's kind of been delayed in terms of the release because it only takes usually 2 to 2.5 years? Do you remember?
Yes, yes, like a world building kind of timeline for this game. Yes.
Okay, so I have a new theory. Ever since I realized that Mortal Kombat 12 and Street Fighter 6 are going to be released on the same year, I have a new theory, and that new theory is that perhaps Mortal Kombat knew what Street Fighter has been doing all along, and maybe they are doing, of course, a traditional Mortal Kombat fighting game, but they're not just doing arcade, but like Street Fighter 6 is doing kind of an open world sort of thing. As funny and as crazy as that sounds, Street Fighter 6 is kind of putting an open world concept into their fighting game, and I
Mm.
think that Mortal Kombat, the crew at NetherRealm, may have gotten the scoop about it, and I think in order to kind of be on par with what Capcom is doing and not just doing the same thing they've been doing for the last couple of years, I think that extra time, or part of that extra time, has been spent into making their own version of something open world, something of that nature with their own spin on it. I know that naturally Ed Boon and company does not like to he doesn't want to copy and paste exactly what the other guys are doing. So he's going to want to put his own spin on it. So in my opinion, that's what I think is going on. Like, does that, like, as a casual fan of gaming, right, that you are, does this make sense to you, or do you think that there perhaps are other reasons as to why things have been delayed? Do you think it's possible that NetherRealm Studios, the creators of Mortal Kombat, have kind of gotten the scoop on what Capcom has been doing before it was announced by Capcom themselves? Or do you think there's something else that, or do you think maybe my previous theory of last week is more headed towards home? Or do you have a theory of your own about this? I want to know.
Well, just being someone, just being a graphic designer and just being an art director, I know that there can be problems with the timeline as far as developers are concerned. Just bumps in the road
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's that. But I don't know. I think you were right the first time. I think that there was world building happening, and I think that that's really where like the meat of gaming is happening,
Uh huh.
you know? So I
Yeah.
think that's the direction.
Okay. So in other words, you're saying Street Fighter 6 is doing their own thing, but NetherRealm is going to continue to do their own thing, and they're doing something. They just might be doing something different than what they've done over the last two iterations.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they've always been known to add things like extra game modes and stuff like that. So
Right.
if they were to add in a game mode or just change the base game, like keep, I don't know, maybe keep the fighting but somehow add in a base game, add in a game mode that makes it like two games into one, I think that would be huge. Or if they just change the story mode from just your traditional story mode into a full on um uh single player action RPG thing, to where you've got your traditional fighting on one hand and then you've got the RPG thing on the other. I mean, it's possible, but because the thing is, like, this doesn't happen very often when you get Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, a new Street Fighter game and a new Mortal Kombat game coming out in the exact same year, especially since there are less Street Fighter games and more Mortal Kombat games. More Mortal Kombat games have been coming out faster than Street Fighter games. Street Fighter games haven't come out as many. I mean, Street Fighter is on 6, and Mortal Kombat is about to go on to 12. So
Mm.
I think that's very interesting. Hopefully Ed Boon has something unique up his sleeve. And of course, Street Fighter 6 is very ambitious, and a lot of people are very excited about that. On top of that, they recently just announced for the professional scene that there's going to be $1 million prize pool. Because in the fighting game scene, in the competitive fighting game scene, as far as Evo and stuff like that is concerned, there are like the top prize is maybe 20K or something like that, which is a lot
Mm.
less than a lot of other professional competitive types of games out there. I think League of Legends is still the one that has the most payout, but a lot of the other games out there have gotten an increase in terms of like how much first place winner would get. So right now, the fact that Evo, basically the biggest fighting game tournament of the year, as far as I understand goes for fighting games goes, Like they recently announced, and of course Street Fighter 6 has been thrown into the mix. Them recently announcing a $1 million prize pool. Oh no, excuse me, $1 million for the first place winner, if I'm not mistaken. Like that is huge. Like the fighting, like that's going to change everything. A lot of the top players are going to be playing. A lot of, like you're going to see competition in a whole other level because whether you agree or not, having like the difference between $20,000 and $1 million, even though you're always trying your hardest, you're going to squeeze out a little bit more or as much as you can possibly muster uh, out of nothing, even just knowing the fact that you could possibly win $1 million.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, and I'm glad to see this, honestly, because to be a professional fighting game player or just a professional competitive player in any game, the skill gap between amateur and professional, or even a casual who is good, because you got your casuals that are not good, which are the casuals of the casual, and then you got your casuals that are actually good because they play a whole lot. And then you've got your professionals, and it's the skill gap is quite large. You're talking about the top 1% of the entirety of the community that plays the game. So it's really good for them to being treated to a point to where it's like, yeah, $1 million for the person that gets first place or whatnot. So it's going to be very interesting to see not only who participates but how things turn out. So that's really exciting. Um, and I also wanted to talk about a little bit about Nintendo games because one big thing that Nintendo has announced years ago, and we haven't seen it since, is Metroid Prime 4. Now, Metroid Prime 1 has been recently remastered and released and successful for the Switch.
Hmm.
So, Metroid Prime 4 is one of the most anticipated. I mean, it's been announced. We know people are working on it, and it's been announced, but we haven't really seen anything yet. And there hasn't even been too much mention of it yet since then. And this has been years now. So, this could be the year to where Nintendo brings it out at this point and says, okay, this is what we've been working on. Here's your first look. Um, and Metroid is a big piece of the Nintendo puzzle. A lot of fans, ever since Metroid Prime 1, and then you had 2 and 3, a lot of fans that love that game, as well as just Nintendo fans in general, have absolutely like fallen in love with it, and they want that game to be. They want to see something more than anything else. They want to see something, right? Because ever since that announcement, there has barely been anything mentioned. So, um, and it's been years. So,
That's weird.
would it be safe to assume that they would, like, if nothing is announced, would it be safe to assume that the game is probably dead and they're just not talking about it? Or do you think there's a better chance that there's going to be some mention about it?
I I certainly hope so, just for the fans' sake. Jeez, that is torture.
But but what do you think the chances are? I mean, I know you said that you really hope so. So, like, what do you think the chances
Jeez,
are?
I
And I
don't
know it's
know.
an impossible question, I know. But what do
That
you
is really,
but what do you think the chances are?
I don't know. I don't know. It does sound dead, to be honest.
Okay, so what you're saying is that you're
Uh,
leaning more towards the side of that the game could very well be dead if nothing is mentioned this year.
yeah, true. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where I'm going.
And let's see what else here. Now I'm gonna go to the top of the list here. Jedi Survivor, which is the sequel to the very successful Jedi Fallen Order. Like, so
Oh yeah.
what? And obviously the very last level was Darth Vader coming on and destroying one of his Inquisitors, and then you fought him, and then shortly after that, after surviving that, it was pretty much game over.
Hmm.
Um, there's
Well,
no
I
doubt.
follow it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
there's
follow
no
it because I follow this. the Star Wars universe. Um, yeah.
Do you like the character of Cal Kestis or Cal Kestis?
Uh, I'm kind of on the fence just because of there's like other lore around the I don't know. See, I have I have like other thoughts that
Well,
like don't involve the game. Like,
okay, but would you be open to new lore being coming out from the game?
oh yeah, sure. But yeah, like definitely. Like it's the game's changed my mind before. The games have changed my mind before. So yeah, I'm definitely open to it.
What about now? What do you think of? And I just thought of this again. So this goes into the Star Wars. So you remember Knights of the Old Republic back in the day, right? KOTOR.
Yes.
Okay. Now that is among many Star Wars fans considered to be top tier perfection, especially when it comes to the RPG style of game in the Star set in the Star Wars universe. So obviously a KOTOR remastered has been announced a while back. So
Hmm. Yeah.
so when would you think that a KOTOR 2 would be released? Now obviously
Mm.
as a fan, we obviously would want the game released as soon as we can get it, right? But at the same time we want the game to be complete, we want it finished, and we want it to be every bit as good as we that as it should be. So as far as the RPG game KOTOR 2, or excuse me, KOTOR Remastered, uh, what would you say the
Mm.
timetable would be on that?
Well, yeah, I want it right away because I want to know what happens. But
But realistically speaking,
yeah, I know. I don't know. Damn. That's a tough question.
yeah, because it's been like the remastered has been announced, but when is it coming out? We don't know.
Well,
So that is another.
like 2 years, a year and a half.
Yeah, remember these RPG games take longer to make, but the thing is, it's a
I
remaster. It's a
know. I
remaster, so
know.
it's like when are we gonna get that? Another one is obviously Zelda, the sequel to Breath of the Wild, also known as Tears of the
Yes.
Kingdom. So uh, Nintendo definitely has, like, if they want to, obviously I think a lot of the fans would be happy getting a lot of the same from the first game, but at the same time it is Zelda, so they always tend to up their game because a lot like Mario, there really aren't bad Zelda games. And a Zelda game is all about the experience. So Zelda
Hmm.
Tears of the Kingdom. Now, some people are saying that it's going to be like, would you say, well, let's see. Let's put it this way. Would you say that Tears of the Kingdom would be pretty much on anybody's top 3 or maybe top 5 most anticipated games this year?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, because Breath of the Wild was so successful and honestly the gameplay, like I watched the gameplay so much and the soundtrack, the soundtrack is like I think somebody uploaded it on YouTube. It's like 18 hours. It's very soothing and it's just like every aspect of that game was like so thoughtful.
Yeah, that's why they take so long to make. I
Mhm.
particularly love games that take long to make because number one, when they come out, they're truly polished, and we're not just talking about visuals either. We're talking about like in terms of the game not crashing and working the way it should. And on top of
Mhm.
that, you get content. Like games right now are worth anywhere from 60 to $70, right? So if a game is going to like if it's going to take anywhere from 50 to 100 hours for you to complete the game, and remember I said complete, not beat, right? So if you beat the game, maybe
Mhm.
it'll take you 30 or 40, but to complete the game, like, and because there's so much to do, for it taking you up to like anywhere from like 60 to like 100 hours, and in some cases even more, I would say that that is one that's like 60 to 70 bucks well spent, in my
Oh
opinion.
yeah.
Because there, I mean, right now, people, you can, like let's say you and I went to dinner and we got an appetizer, we both got a main course, and then we got a dessert. That's easily 60 bucks, if not more. Easily.
Oh yeah. For real.
Like easily. We're talking like 60 bucks if we went cheap in this day and age. So so if you're gonna spend like 70 on a brand new game and it's gonna keep you busy for so long, I would say that that's worth it. That's why Grand Theft.
Oh
That's
yeah.
one of the reasons why Grand Theft Auto games or games like Elden Ring or other RPG games, like RPG games, are known to be long lasting, right? And they keep you immersed and all that kind of stuff. Um, so like when you look at a game like Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, from the way that game looks and the fact that you can literally go anywhere where your eyes set to is really impressive, and the fact that there's like so much to do, I think that that game has a lot to live up to.
R&D.
Huh? I can't hear him, but he's here. RMD's here, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully he's able to plug in his stuff.
Here's something.
Yeah.
Hear me now?
Yo, what up?
Hey.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, it's a little off, but yeah, I can barely hear you.
I'll
There
be
we
right
go.
back.
There we go. That's better.
That's better?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm using wireless headphones. My other one's broke on me.
No, you're fine. We can hear you perfectly now. Welcome back, my friend.
Hey, how you doing tonight?
Doing good, doing good. We were actually talking about a game that you might want to put your own 2 cents on. So, quick question: Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Would you say that that could be on anybody's top 3 list for most anticipated games this year?
For those who got a Nintendo, definitely. Definitely top 3.
Okay. And before moving on, because I don't want to backtrack too much. Plus, we haven't been live for too long. Metroid Prime 4. Do you think something will be? You think we're finally going to get to see something after all these years, ever since it's been announced years ago, or do you think it's pretty much dead?
I'm actually kind of hoping we see something.
Yeah. But in your in your gaming little heart, what does your heart think? Like, do you think that there is something and it's going to be announced, or
Metroid Dread sold very well, so I'd be thinking something is gonna happen.
right? You think they released
Yeah.
Metroid Dread in order to keep the Metroid fans satisfied up until the new game?
Oh yeah, definitely. Metroid Dread was a great game.
Oh yeah, Metroid Dread was basically Super Metroid
Yeah.
with today's bells and whistles. I've seen.
Yeah, I played the hell with that game.
Oh, that's right. You do have a Switch, don't you?
Yeah, I hooked it up to my TV and had the controller going.
Gotcha.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, man, it's just like when I'm holding the Switch, it just feels awkward because the analogs are so far away from each other.
Yeah. Well, just you can always purchase a Brook Super Converter, and you can use an Xbox or a PS5 or PS4 controller or even an Xbox 360 controller and play it on that sucker.
I bought the $60 controller that for the Switch.
Gotcha. Much better.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's like playing on it's like an Xbox controller.
Right.
Mm.
Oh, and by the way, RMD, I mean, this is a special year because we got a new Street Fighter game and a new Mortal Kombat game coming out in the same year. How special is that?
Oh, I can't wait to play that Mortal Kombat. That's it. You hear a new Mortal Kombat game, I get hyped up.
Yeah, and then Street Fighter's kind of doing an open world thing with their game, so I'm really interested to see how that turns out. So, and
Yeah,
before,
I seen the Street Fighter game on PlayStation.
Mhm.
It was like the Ultimate Edition for like $104.
something like that, they got multiple editions for that game probably.
Mm.
Jedi Survivor, excited about that game?
When's that come out again?
It
Is that
comes out.
already out?
It comes out. It comes out. No, it comes out in like a month or two. I think it
What's
comes out.
that?
I think it comes out like next month, maybe.
Next month. Yeah, I'm excited to play that game too.
Yeah, you were a fan of Jedi Fallen Order, right?
Oh yeah, I love Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah. So this is the sequel. So hopefully it lives up. I think it's going to live up. I mean, the game looks great. Obviously, I mean, there's next gen hardware and everything like that. Um, what about Diablo 4? You interested in Diablo 4?
To be quite honest, I never played a Diablo game. A couple of my friends used to go hardcore at that back in high school. They used to line up 4 TVs and play on PC. They used to have like all the TVs connected and stuff, so they could just play every Friday. But I personally never played a Diablo game.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. What other game? Are you guys fans of Assassin's Creed?
Uh,
Not really. No, no.
I think the last one I played was Origins.
And what were your thoughts on that?
I was not a fan of the game being in the Middle East.
Okay.
Like I like video games. Like mainly like I love video games with the environment. Like if they're in a snow environment, I love them. I love the snow environment.
Okay. So you're
I
basically
don't
like
I don't,
you're basically like Anakin Skywalker. You're not a big fan of sand.
no, I'll play in sand, but I'm just not. I don't like hot weather in a game. You know, because like when I play video game, I love when they put snow in it. You know, because I'm from up north.
Gotcha. So yeah, no one,
Yeah,
no
Do
wonder,
you,
no wonder
yeah,
you, no
I do
wonder,
like the effect. Yeah.
no,
I
no
love
wonder
the
you like
cold.
Black Ops 1 so much.
I love the cold. Like Cold War, go back to Cold War. There was nothing cold about that game.
Yeah, just one map, and that was it.
They called it Cold War, but there was a map that based in Miami.
Yeah.
Like that's not Cold War.
All right. One of the main topics. So here we go. So we know that content creators or streamers or whatnot, like big names like Doctor Disrespect and Nade Shot, right? They're creating their own video games, right? So as of this week, Shroud announced that he's working on a game as well. He's creating a game. So it's going to be like a open world survivor game, an open world survival game. So what are your thoughts on that?
Hmm.
Uh,
It's going
I'm
to be
not
a
excited.
shooter, as far as I know,
I gotta hear more about it to be able to judge it.
right? So
Like
okay, but
if I judged it right now, it wouldn't be fair.
well, what I was kind of leaning towards was content creators are making their own games and stuff, right? Okay. Uh do you trust those content creators or do you not trust them? That's the
I don't.
deeper question.
I was told to never trust a creator or any kind of video game.
Well, they're just trying, like everybody else, they're just trying to make some money. So
Yep, ding ding
Uh,
ding and they
what's to
and they're
trust, you
already,
know?
yeah, and
Like,
they're, yeah, go ahead, keep going.
uh,
oh, I was just gonna say, like, what's to trust? Like, they're just business people.
uh, I could trust them, and then next thing you know, they go, "Oh, there's a battle pass," and you're like, "Oh,
There's
Yep.
in-app purchases, yeah.
And then Dr. Disrespect's game is going to be have NFTs.
uh,
Oh, jeez.
and it's
So,
gonna have what NFTs?
NFT,
yeah.
yeah.
What's the NFT?"
Non-fungible tokens. They're the
See,
more I learn about them, the more I don't like them. They're like really bad for the environment.
hmm.
Um,
And never, you know what? And never trust people with lots of money. That's another thing.
yeah.
So in other
Think of
words,
it.
let's say Nate Shot is creating a Call of Duty clone, right? So, do you think he's gonna rinse and repeat what Activision did, so that way he can hopefully turn himself into a billionaire? Do you think that's what he's going for?
Be a hypocrite if he did that.
Say again.
Because then he quit Call of Duty because of what Call of Duty's doing.
Say again.
Then he quit. Then he quit playing Call of Duty because of what Call of Duty is doing.
No, he quit Call of Duty before things went to complete shit. He stopped back in 2014. In terms of competitive, yeah. But now he owns his own competitive team. You know, he's made his own organization, just like Hex made Optic Gaming. Nadeshot did the same thing with 100 Thieves. So do you think he's trying to get some of that Activision money, so to speak, so that way he can kind of turn his franchise game into like a multi-billion-dollar franchise, so that way he can become a billionaire and rinse and repeat exactly what those guys did? Or do you think he's going to do something different, or what?
Shroud, right?
Say what?
We're talking about Shroud, right?
No, right now we're talking about Nadeshot.
Nadeshot? I don't mess with Nadeshot.
Yeah. What about Doctor Disrespect?
Yeah.
You try. So
I don't trust that. Anybody that already had money, I don't trust.
Right.
Like if they came from the bottom to the top, I would trust them.
Right. What about, well, Nadeshot did work at McDonald's, and then he ended up making a career out of everything that Optic Gaming, gave an opportunity. But at the same time, he's definitely becoming very corporate from what I've seen and stuff like that, and he's capitalizing on everything. So I can't help but think that he's gonna rinse and repeat exactly what has been done in the past. I don't know.
Nadeshot, the dude that was okay with skill-based matchmaking being in Call of Duty.
No, that's Hutch.
Hutch.
Yeah, no.
Okay,
Nadeshot, to my knowledge, is not okay with skill-based matchmaking being in Call of Duty, unless it's in ranked. Unless it's in league player ranked, but other than that, he's not okay with it.
Okay, I must have got that mixed up.
Yeah. What about what's it called? What do you think about E3? Now, do you think E3 needs to go back and have those events, or do you not care and let them save money and just do showcases, online showcases? What do you think?
Love for the E3, definitely. Definitely E3.
Like I miss the fact that it was like a big ass event, like where they would have their main showcase in front of a crowd, and it would be broadcasted all over the internet and such, right? And then after that, in between the showcases, you would have some of these other guys like IGN or GameSpot covering the new games and doing interviews and shit about them. And it's like 3 or 4 days full of like nothing but pure info about so many different games, and then announcements in epic fashion. And right now it's like we're not, it's like we're almost kind of like missing the thrill, even though we're not there. It's like, I don't know, it just kind of feels different. But they save millions upon millions upon millions of dollars just by doing a regular old showcase and doing it all online, as opposed to just going out at the event and setting everything up and yada 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 and having a big ass show. And I don't know, man.
Because of ever since COVID happened, I think that they probably feel safer doing it the way they do it now.
Well, yeah, but it's not just that. I mean, it's the fact that right now, since things have cooled off in that aspect, it's like, okay, now it's like, well, how much money did we save in comparison doing this? Holy shit. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, they're saving money by doing it this way.
Mm-hmm.
Just like other businesses out there, like a lot more people now are working from home, and it saves the company money.
Yeah, exactly. I do miss, yeah, you're right. I do miss the events. I miss the live streams. I miss Yeah, you're right. And you don't get as much information now.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
problem. Like back in the day, it was like huge show. It would be a big showcase that would last an hour, maximum hour and a half, right? PlayStation would usually go for an hour, hour and a half. Xbox would go for an hour, hour and a half. And then Nintendo's been doing it the way they've been doing it for years. I mean, they just do like a little online thing for like 45 minutes and that's it. Nintendo Direct or whatever you want to call it. So, um, and then in between, you would get developers doing interviews with some of these major guys that cover like IGN and GameSpot and all that. So, I mean, right now and you would get a ton of information and you would have the schedule and everything. It's like you could tune in into any stream or whatnot and check out the game that you're interested in. But now that doesn't happen as
Yeah.
much. It's like all you get is a little
There,
showcase and then it's over.
yeah, and I really miss channels like I don't know if you know who Philip DeFranco is, but he used to have SourceFed, and they used to have their gaming channel, and with Raina Scully and some other guy. But they like I used to follow them, and they would go to E3, and um, it's like you have your favorites who go to E3. This was a long time ago, like in the early 2010s and stuff like that.
Yeah. I
But
yeah, those were the times.
yeah.
Those were the times. Now, RMD, I got to ask you this, man. I'm going to throw kind of a curveball at you here. So, let's say a billionaire comes up to you and just admires your passion for gaming, right? And you guys have like a dinner meeting, and then he's like, "I'm going to give you $300 million, and you're going to have 3 to 5 years to create the game of your dreams. What would you create?"
What would I do? I don't know. I'm not that good at creating video games.
Okay, but let's put it this way. Okay, let me rephrase the question. Let me change it up a little bit. Let's say you had the kind of money that Jeff Bezos has, right? And you wanted to give money to a certain group in order to make the kind of game they always wanted to make, right? Who would you give it to, and what would you hope they would make with it?
Pretty much what developer would I want?
Yeah, like what developer would you give that money to, and what would you like to see them create?
Does it have to be a game from scratch, or can I bring back a franchise?
Anything your heart desires.
I want Max Payne 4.
And who's creating it?
Rockstar.
Okay.
Rockstar, bring back Max Payne 4, or bring back Glenn Schofield and make Dead Space 4.
What
Mhm.
what requests would you have for Max Payne 4?
Make it more dark.
Okay.
Make it add some horror to it and make it more dark.
Like
Okay.
gory, like
Yeah, and add some suspense to it. You know,
okay.
add some suspense to it, make it dark, and make the environment cold and airy.
Um did you play Alan Wake?
Yes.
Alan Wake 2 might come out this year. What do you think of that?
I'm definitely buying it first day it comes out.
Now, Alan Wake is that super dark game, right? It's like all dark and you got like a flashlight and it's like, is that what it is?
You weaken the enemies with the flashlight. You gotta weaken them with the flashlight first before you can kill them.
That almost sounds like it got an influence from Luigi's Mansion to an extent.
It reminds me of that movie Lights Out. You ever watched the movie Lights Out
Yeah.
No, but it sounds
Yeah.
scary as hell just by the sound
where
of it.
the monsters can only attack you if you're in the dark?
Yeah, Jack doesn't like scary movies.
Well,
Yeah.
I only like the scary movies that are kind of fun. Like I don't like the scary movies.
See, I'm a horror movie junkie. That's all I watch is horror movies.
Are you a
Me
fan
I
of? Are
too,
you
fall
a fan of
honestly.
who?
I fall asleep to them every night.
Which horror movie franchise is your favorite?
I can't hear you, you're a little low.
Sorry, which horror movie franchise is your favorite?
Which horror movie franchise? Wow, that's a tough one. That is a real tough one. Freddy's my favorite. Freddy's my favorite character when it comes to horror. I love Freddy.
Don't you miss Robert England or what?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. I met him when I was a kid.
Super nice guy, I bet.
Oh yeah, well, I was real young when it happened. I was like maybe like 8 or 9 years old
Yeah.
when I met him. He was in Pittsburgh. I think he was at like some kind of convention.
Okay.
I don't remember most of the meeting. I don't remember bits and pieces.
Okay.
My mom said he tapped me on the head and said, "Have a good day."
Um.
My mom said he was very nice.
I'm sure he is. I'm sure he is.
My daughter has an obsession with Kane Hodder.
The only man to play the only man to play Jason more than once.
I remember on her 8th birthday, she tweeted him because she had a picture of Jason. She tweeted at him. He didn't respond back to her, but she was trying to get a happy birthday from him.
Aw.
Like
Oh.
she still likes him.
Oh, of course. In my opinion, I still think he could do it.
Definitely. He does it. He did it for the video game back
Yeah.
in 2017.
Yeah.
He's doing Leatherface right now.
Did you see the behind the scenes footage of him in the mocap suit doing Jason for that game?
Yeah, he's doing Leatherface right now.
Shit. He's actually played Leatherface one time before, like I think for a stunt.
Yeah, because they're coming out with the Leatherface game, and he's doing the mocap for it.
Yep, and it's going to be day one on Game Pass.
Yeah, that's gonna be a sweet game when it comes out.
Yeah, I can already tell that you're going to be all over that. I can already tell. You know, one of these days when I get Half Ton Hammer on here, you guys are going to geek out over horror and horror games and shit like that. You and him have so much in common in that aspect. It's ridiculous. Like
So
if you
don't so
yeah, go ahead.
you don't like horror games?
I don't play them. I just don't play them very much. Like I've played games that were scary. Like when okay, this is gonna sound really weird, but like back when Doom 3 came out, I played that with the lights closed, and that game looked really good back in the day, like remarkably well, right? I played that game with the lights closed and then the surround sound on, and that shit was really like immersive.
Yeah, that game. Yeah, because the whole time you're playing it, you hear like the demons talking to you. Your character in the game, not actually talking to you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean.
Yeah.
But no, I'm a Friday the 13th fan. I never really played the game because even though I enjoyed watching it though, but I never really enjoyed it because for me personally, I just thought it would be just like I gotta be doing something all the time. And plus there's a pacing and stuff like that. I mean, I understand why people like it. I mean, it's all like Battle Royale. Like I understand why people like it, but doesn't necessarily mean that I will, but I like what they did with that game. I like what they did with that game because they gave it, for a game that was obviously a low budget game, they maxed out all the juice that they could for that game. And from a gameplay perspective and in terms of what they did for the design of that game and the love that they gave to the franchise. And Friday the 13th is my favorite horror movie franchise, you know, and I'm still bummed out that we haven't seen a new Friday the 13th movie in 14 years now. The last one to come out was in 2009.
I can't believe it's been that long.
Yeah, so I am waiting. I am waiting.
When's the last time we've seen a Nightmare on Elm Street movie?
Yeah, that one around the same amount of time.
It's been a long time, man.
It has been a long time. So my ass is like, you know, I mean, and I'm glad that Kane Hodder is still doing his thing, you know, with the mocap and everything else, because like to me, he'll always be Jason. I would love to see him come back one more time. Chances are he'd probably be a cameo. But even with that being said, you know, I mean, back in 2018 when they did the mocap stuff and they showed the behind the scenes, it's like, dude, the guy still has it. He could still do it if he wants to.
Definitely, he's a big dude too.
Yeah, he is. He's a big man. He's about 6'4". But in his prime, that man was even scarier. Like when you go back and you look at part 7, 8, 9, and Jason X, I mean that man was huge, and he was in his 50s, I think, when he did Jason X. So, if not his 40s, but late 40s. But no, Kane Hodder is, and on top of that, he's a really sweet man. Like he's just a really good dude. So, I would say that games like that need to be supported. Games like that Friday the 13th game need to be supported, and there's more games that need to come out like that. Like right now, what they're doing is it's another game that I want to talk about today, and it's hopefully coming out this year. I think it's coming out this year. Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Me and my friends are all over it. Me and my friend Jeff can't wait for that to come out.
Yeah, I mean, I've got the movie. I got the DVD in front of me.
Yeah, Jack showed me the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, the movie did not freak me out. It was that
No.
rock song for it that freaked me out. I forgot he was singing it, but it was. I'm like, I can't. Every time I hear that song, I'm like, oh no. I'm like, now it's gonna get stuck in my head for like God knows how long.
Yeah, but nonetheless, it was funny. So, yeah, Killer Clowns from Outer Space is coming out this year. So that's gonna be something. It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be similar to Friday the 13th. Go ahead.
Whenever I buy that game, I'm turning off the music for it so I don't have to hear that song. I can't. That song creeps me out.
Oh shit, that's funny.
That song creeps me out. Predator, I used to be scared of that movie.
Yeah, but
I remember being so scared of it. That's how I actually started liking Predator, from being so scared of it.
Yeah, Predator. I'm actually still kind of shocked that they still haven't gotten Predator right after all these years, man. I mean,
the problem with that is they have not got the right director to make the movie.
Yeah, but you would think in the latest one, you know, that the guy that actually Shane Black, who was actually in the first Predator movie, you think he would know what he's doing, but apparently he doesn't.
Quite honest, Robert Rodriguez, when he made Predators, I thought that was a great movie.
Yeah, I mean it was you know what, it was good for what it was. I was expecting better, to be honest, but I mean in terms of bringing you back to remembering about the original and stuff like that and putting you in that atmosphere, he definitely nailed it. But one thing that I think he did wrong that he didn't need to do was, well, he didn't need to quote unquote upgrade the Predator. The Predator was fine. You didn't need, you know, different species of Predator and all that kind of stuff. It's like, and on top of that, you just didn't see enough of what they could do. I mean, and the thing is, you only need one Predator, honestly.
Well, Robert Rodriguez said the reason why he made the new species is because he'd never seen the original Predator as a villain.
Okay.
That's why he added another species like the Bad Bloods, because he always looked at the Predator as more of a what's that word I'm looking for? He's not good, he's not bad, he's like right in the middle.
Yeah, like an anti-hero.
He said he always seen the original Predator as a anti-hero. Or in the middle, not bad, not good.
Right.
Because he wanted to do a Predator versus Predator scene in the movie.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great movie. I knew Danny Trejo was going to get killed. Because in Danny Trejo's contract, I heard about. I don't know how true this is, but every time he plays a villain in a movie, he has to die.
That's funny.
Yeah, right. It has to like be a lesson or something, right?
Yeah, and he has to die. If he's a villain, he has to die in the movie. If he's a good guy, he lives.
Yeah.
Oh,
I heard
funny.
that too.
That's funny.
Yeah. If that's true, then that is an awesome clause in a contract.
Now, So let's see. Okay, so I want you, RMD. I want you to talk about this because you know way more about it than I do. So you're gonna have to take the helm on this one. So another one of the games that is probably one of some of the most anticipated ones is Stalker 2. So for those people that are not aware too much about Stalker, right? Can you please elaborate about Stalker and then what people might hope for the second game?
Pretty much Stalker. It's very similar to Metro. You ever played the Metro series?
Haven't played
Metro
it.
Last
Haven't
Light.
haven't played it, but I've seen it.
It's a game. It takes place in Moscow. It's about where it's a apocalyptic era. It's like the air is like all contaminated. You gotta wear a mask. It's a first person shooter. You're gonna be fighting lots of mutants. And the only thing I'm worried about the soccer game is the last Metro game that came out. I forgot the name of it. But the controls is what I fear about the game, because the controls and how they feel, they weren't very fluid in the last Metro game. But the story and everything else, the story, the enemies, it's like you're playing Resident Evil, but it takes place in Moscow.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, but expect it. It's story driven too, and Metro it tells a good story. It's just I forgot the last name of the last Metro game that came out, but the controls are so bad. But if you're into it, if you're a huge fan of it, you're gonna love it.
Okay. Okay. So have they?
Yeah.
Is there anything specific about the second one that a lot of fans have been wanting that needs to be in the second game,
Well, I
or
don't know
or
much
or should
about
it be
the
more of the same?
story wise. I don't know much about the Stalker, because like every video I've read on it, they never got into details about what the story could be.
Okay.
Like I'm just going on a limb here that it's going to be similar to Metro's story. You know, they're in Moscow. Everything's infected, contaminated. You got to wear a mask. You got to wear a mask. You got to change your filters on the fly. If you got to have you always stock your filters in that game, because you're constantly going to be changing them. You're going to be fighting big giant mutants. Uh, it's first person survival horror. It's awkward, but it's a good game.
Okay.
And as the story, like every video I tried getting what the story would be. They're really keeping it on the hush hush about the story.
Okay. Okay. So
Like
okay, that's good because they want the audience to be as surprised as possible and going into it as clean as possible. I totally get
yeah,
that. I would do the same
they,
thing.
they they did that with the Metro games. They never said anything about the story until maybe like a week before the game came out, because they want everybody to have that element of surprise for the game. But when you're getting attacked in that game, if it's like Metro in the Metro games, when you got attacked by monsters, it keeps you on your toes, you know.
Right.
And then the ammo is very scarce, so you got to be really conservative with it and learn how and be smart with your ammo. Mm.
What's your uh what's your most anticipated game?
The share that oh, definitely Stalker's one of them. Like I can't wait. I kind of can't wait to dip into that game whenever it comes out. And Redfall, I can't wait to play that game.
I like the color palette of that game.
The Redfall, just something that game reminds me of Back for Blood, just with vampires, and I love Back for Blood.
Yeah. Are they made from the same developers that made Back for Blood or no?
If they ain't, they then you could have fooled me, because they look very similar together.
Yeah.
They both first person shooters. So
Okay. Now, so Now, with like, what do you think that Nintendo is working on a Donkey Kong game?
I don't know if they are, but I hope you can't go wrong with a Donkey Kong game. They're always good.
Hmm. Man, I
Uh,
hope so.
Yeah, Donkey
if it came out, I'll definitely buy it.
Donkey Kong, Zelda, Mario. Now, another thing that gets me is that like Nintendo has amazing exclusives, right? So why, like, for them specifically, with the amount of exclusive games that they have that are so good and so successful, like the biggest thing that always got to me was how in the world do you not have like a similar subscription deal like Game Pass? Or do they already have something like that, but it's just not as good? I mean, because the thing is, like, they've got like,
They have something like that, but it's just not that good. They have a Super Nintendo subscription, regular Nintendo, and Genesis,
no,
but the
no,
games are very limited in there.
yeah, yeah, that's the thing. I doubt they have Genesis because Genesis, I don't know about that, but it's like,
Like
yeah,
their Nintendo selection, they probably only got like 50 games in it.
which is a shame.
They got basic, Mario's and just basic, nothing special. Of course, they got Zelda and Mario, but that's pretty much like the only really good games in there. They don't have Batman. They don't have any of the Contras.
Mm.
Uh, they have Chrysalis. Yeah, I don't know if you ever played Chrysalis. That's a good game.
No, no, I haven't played that.
Yeah, Chrysalis. Not that many good games. The Super Nintendo selection is really bad. I don't like it at all. Like the no Contra games at all in Super Nintendo or regular Nintendo.
Mm.
You're very limited, but they don't charge you that much. I pay $5 a month to play NES games on my Switch.
Okay, okay, at least they're not charging an arm and a leg for so little.
Yeah, they could. There is a $35 if you just. I pay $5 a month. They have a price where you pay $35 yearly.
Oh,
And
that's really
and
cheap.
and what do you get for that?
You get a year subscription of just playing Nintendo, Sega, and Super Nintendo games.
Do they
But
up?
it's a limited selection. They don't have all the games.
Do they update it on a regular basis?
No, nope.
Um,
Well, that sucks.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not something that's gonna blow your mind away.
Do you think a Nintendo Switch 2 is coming out soon?
Didn't they release the OLED not too long ago? The
Yeah.
Nintendo OLED. I thought that was the second one.
No, I mean it's basically a Nintendo Switch, but it's 100% portable as opposed to giving you the option of putting it on your TV.
Okay, so it's basically just a
Just a Switch, but without
it's
but
just
but
a
you can't
Switch.
but you can't hook it up to your TV.
Ah, you can't hook it up to your TV.
No.
That's weak.
That's why it costs 100 less.
Uh, they had two versions, right? They had the $200 version and the $400 version, I think.
Something like that. Either 300 or 400. I think it's 300.
Well, I skipped over that and bought the regular Switch.
Yeah. What games do you have on that?
I played the old school Nintendo games and I still play Metroid Fusion.
Okay.
Yeah, that game I play that game like over and over again. I love that game. And I'm subscribed to the Super Nintendo games and I played nothing but Metroid on my Switch.
What about
Whether it's
okay.
regular Metroid or Super Metroid or Fusion.
So on your Switch you just play the old stuff?
Yeah, mainly I just played old stuff. Like I'm playing Zelda right now. Like I'm almost at the end of Zelda right now.
Okay.
I play. I'm old school. I love the retro games.
Okay.
Uh, like Mario, I play that every once in a while, but mainly I'm playing like old NES games like Mario, Metroid. I wish they had Batman on there. I would play that game a lot.
Hmm.
Uh,
What else? What else you
Hmm.
got as far as consoles right now? What else you've been playing?
I've been playing the Dead Space remake. I'm playing that currently right now. Dead Space remake, Cuphead. I'm playing that on PS4.
I hear it's a
Oh,
challenge.
Cuphead. Yeah.
Yeah, that game is crazy hard, but I like it. And I'm waiting for the Resident Evil 4 remake to come out.
I think there's a demo out right now.
Yeah, yeah, I played it. Yeah, I see a lot of people playing. I played it. So the demo, uh, it's a tease.
Did you have a GameCube back in the day?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I played a lot of Blood Rain and Resident Evil on that, and Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance.
Yep, I had that game for the Switch as well. Mortal Kombat Deadly
Yeah,
Alliance. And the
that was
and
a great game.
yeah,
Good game.
you want to know how I got that? I got that. I was in what grade was I in? I was in like 10th or 11th grade, and so my best friend, one of my two best friends, he and I had gym class, and he told me that he got Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, and I was like, man, I wish I could get that, but I don't have any money. He's like, well, you got lunch money every day, right? I'm like, yes. He's like, how much do you usually have? I'm like, $5 or so. And then he's like, okay, I'll tell you what, I'll get it for you tonight, and I'll bring it to you tomorrow, and I'll give it to you tomorrow. As long as all you have to do is for the next 2 weeks, give me $5 every day, and that's it. After 2 weeks, wham bam, you paid it off. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank you. And then, oh man, that next day when he brought it to me, and when I went home, man, that's all I did. I played the shit out of that game, and I was doing like I was playing all the characters, trying to beat the game with all the characters. But that game was like the first Mortal Kombat game that gave you a reason to grind, and you had all the coffins, that you had to unlock by collecting coins and shit. Um, yeah, they did a good job with Deadly Alliance. Deception was even better in my opinion, but Deadly
I
Alliance was
had
like
to.
the first full on 3D Mortal Kombat game, and that game, a lot of good memories with that game. I miss Deadly Alliance. Those were some good days, man. Those were good days.
I, yeah, I remember I bought a. I sold pop to get a GameCube.
I
I
actually,
like I remember I bought two. I remember my grandma don't drink pop, so she gave me she said, "Here, I got 2 cases of Pepsi." Well, she don't speak English. She was Italian, so she gave me her 2 cases. I sold, made money off it, $1 a can, 48 can, 48 dollars right there I made. And like I took that and I had saved up money at home, so I went out and bought a Switch for my 22nd birthday.
you mean the GameCube?
GameCube, my
Yeah,
bad.
I worked. How I got mine was I worked. Did I work? I was working. Trying to think of when I got my GameCube. Did I get GameCube? When did I get GameCube? But anyway, I got my GameCube. I worked a summer job, obviously when school was out, and ended up saving some money. And one of the things that I spent was money on a GameCube. And at the and it was great. I don't regret it one bit. I think Star Wars Rogue Squadron was the first one. Rogue Squadron 2, I think, was the first game I got. And then after that, it was Deadly Alliance. And then after that, it was just back and forth between others. But at the end of the day, I ended up getting later on when I after graduating high school, my best friend had bought an Xbox, and then he had Halo, and we all fell in love with it. And then I saved up for like 3 weeks later. I ended up getting an Xbox,
Hmm.
and then Halo was just that was it. But at the same time, it was still Xbox. So Xbox had a lot of really good games. I mean, they did a really good job when they came out with that console. And then when the 360 came out, it was just that was like the best era of Xbox. But thanks to Game Pass today, Xbox is doing better than ever according to Game Pass because of Game Pass?
Halo. Playing Halo, I met my girlfriend playing Halo.
No shit.
Oh yeah.
I have a kid with her.
Wow.
Uh, we were playing because me and my friends used to every Friday we used to get drunk, and everybody used to bring their Xboxes over. We used to have like Halo tournaments at
Yeah.
my friend's house,
Yeah.
and she was on the other team that I was playing against, and like me and her kept on looking at each other the whole time. And then after we got done playing, me and her fell in love. Like right then and there, we've been together ever since.
Wow. That's rare.
Uh,
That is just rare. Holy shit. How long ago was this?
God, I think I was like 24.
Shit.
So I say about 17 years ago.
Oh wow.
Damn.
Yeah, 17 years ago.
All with a
Whoever
good.
That's
thought, yeah,
So Game of Halo did it all, huh? Sorta.
yeah, because we were nerds back in the day.
Does she still? Does she?
Yeah,
Is she like? Are you like? Is she still hyped up about Halo whenever a Halo game comes out, or is she over it?
she retired her controller a long time ago.
Okay.
Aw.
Yeah, she still plays it here and there, but that's about it. Like she's in the phone. She's more in the phone games now.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
another reason why Xbox wants to get Activision is because they want to impact the mobile market because Microsoft is all about like getting people to play regardless of whatever device you're on.
but
So
Oh yeah.
and my best friend that passed away likes Halo too. And then like and my best friend was at that party too, and like he passed away, and I met her.
wow,
Oh.
So
I'm sorry
and
about your
it
friend.
was weird because like the Halo party I went to, they were all gothic people, right? They all like headbangers and gothic, and
Oh.
I was dressed like I should be in a rap video,
Uh,
and like they're all like close friends. They're all close friends of mine, and like they're all in the heavy rock music and everything, and I'm like I don't match with them. I'm wearing a FUBU jersey and jean shorts and everything, and I'm dressed like I should be in a rap video.
wow.
But everything works out.
Yeah, I was a goth back in the day, and I had some friends who were like, you know, one of these things does not belong.
To each their own.
I know, yeah. I'm still
To
friends
each,
with them.
the way I see it, video games brings everybody together.
For real. Yeah.
Uh,
And it's much
Especially
easier.
Halo.
Yeah, it's much easier now with and I think that's another thing that really put Xbox on the map was Xbox Live.
When the pandemic hit, video games got even bigger.
Yeah, way bigger.
Yeah, because we couldn't go to work, we had to stay in the house.
Yep.
And there's only two things to do in the house. Three things. You can either talk to each other, play video games, or play board games.
Yep, pretty much. Pretty much. And the thing is with video games there's just so many of them that you can play.
Uh,
Especially with things like Game Pass. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
but yeah, definitely. God bless Game Pass. I love Game Pass.
Best deal in gaming.
Definitely, man. My friend got that PlayStation. I guess they got their own version of Game Pass now,
Yeah.
and it's so confusing. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like looking at it like what? There's so many PlayStation Essential, PlayStation Gold, or wherever the hell it's called. It's all confusing.
Yeah. But again, they've got good exclusives. That's their big power right now is that their exclusives are that good.
PlayStation.
Yeah.
Their exclusives are good, but it's not enough to make me buy one yet.
I had a chance to get one back when it was a little bit harder to get one, but I'm just like, nah. It's like I've got a Series X, you know, plenty of games to like. I got a PC. I'm like, the only game that I thought of off the top of my head that I wanted was God of War, and I'm like I don't know if I want to spend $650 on a console for just one game, and I've got plenty of things to play, so it's like I don't know. I don't think so.
I watched my nephew play that game, and it reminded me too much of the last one that came out.
Yeah, but it was supposed to be because it took place in the same era and shit like that. But it was even better from a gameplay standpoint as well. Like they're comparing it like a lot of I've read a few gamers compare it to Doom 2016 and then Doom Eternal. You know, because once you play Doom Eternal, you don't want to go back to play Doom 2016.
Every time I heard Doom Eternal, I cringe up. It's that game. That game took years off my life.
Why did you play it on? Did you play it on the harder difficulty?
Yes, I played it on normal and the hardest, and I played on the normal. I thought it was tough. I was like, "Woo, damn! This thing is taking years off my life."
Oh, God.
That game almost drove me back to go back to smoking cigarettes. I was like, "Woo, that game was tough."
And you did complete that game, right? Did you beat it?
yeah, I beat it on the hardest level and everything.
Wait, you played on Ultra Nightmare? Like if you die once,
no, like
the game's over?
Not that way. No, I did level before that.
Okay, yeah, Nightmares.
The level. Yeah, I'll never play it. I'm not that crazy to play it on the hardest level.
Telling you what, man, I've seen some people do speed runs on that shit, and I'm like, what the hell?
I always joke with the ones that beat games easily on the hardest level. I'm like, you're cheated. I'll just joke with them, cheater.
Yeah, gamers like that are amazing. Like whenever I see like the gameplay that I had last week on the last week's podcast with that one dude that didn't get hit once in Ninja Gaiden 2, that's so impressive.
Yeah,
man.
that's insane.
That's impressive.
Was...
That's impressive how there's people out there like that can play that well to that extent. Like I'm always genuinely impressed with people like that.
The people that can do that in Mega Man, that is crazy.
Yeah, like any game whatsoever, doesn't matter. And the thing is, some gamers out there, what they'll do is they'll figure out ways to make a game even harder. Like they'll get like the weakest weapon, and they'll play through the game like that without upgrading anything. So let's say your weapons can be upgraded, your character can be upgraded, and shit like that. Like there's people out there that will literally play games all the way through on like the hardest difficulty with like the weakest weapons and challenge themselves that way, which is crazy to me. And I also I watch one of these podcasts that I watch, speaking of games as well, and while we're on the subject of Game Pass, I want to bring this up. Speaking of games as well, one of the people that I watch, he's got an amazing podcast. You know, he goes by Randall Thor 19, and every Friday he has a podcast up. So one of the things I believe I heard him mention is that I think, or either through him or through another video, there's I think there's rumors that another Spyro game is coming out.
Oh.
So I'm like, I will eventually, like, especially after the Activision deal goes through and when Microsoft acquires it, I like, you know, that all the Spyro games, the remastered games, the Crash Bandicoot games, all the Call of Duties throughout time, the old ones up to the new ones, all that, like, you name it, like, all that stuff's going to be on Game Pass. So, like, Spyro Remastered and Crash Remastered and Crash Team Racing Remastered and or Nitro Fueled and Crash 4 and then eventually Spyro the Dragon 4 or whatever they're going to call it. Like, all that's going to be on Game Pass, and chances are it's going to be on Game Pass day one as far as the new stuff is concerned. So, um, I don't know what it is, but there's just something about a classic old school platformer. Like I love the original Spyro trilogy. I mean,
Hmm.
I don't know if it's I can't quite explain it. I guess it's just one of those things to where you had to be there. So like when the original Spyro 2 came out, I rented it multiple times from Blockbuster, and it was an incredible experience trying to complete that game before the weekend was over. Spyro was one. It's like think there's so many games like that, but I don't know what it is. It's like, and it's simple. You go around, you try to find like all the gems, and then you use that as currency and possible upgrades and like that to progress the story. And then you got to find a few hidden items, and then you got to beat the enemies and stuff like that. And then you got to do all the levels within that world, and then there's a percentage completion. And I mean, it's a simple concept platformer, and it's like, well, I think the only thing they need to do now is I think they need to make it, I don't know, in some way, shape, they don't need to, but I don't know. I think if they did an open world Spyro game, I think that'd be pretty cool. And I don't care if it is made for kids. I mean, if it takes you a long ass time to complete, to me that's worth it. As simple as it is. I mean, plus they can give Spyro a fucking, they can give him additional moves. They can give him a skill tree, which is something he's never had before. You can use currency to upgrade his shit. I mean, you can do more hidden stuff. I mean, it's like they've got plenty of stuff to work with. They have plenty of source material from the previous games in order to build something like that if they wanted to. But I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's
Friend Jeff would like that. He was in the. My friend Jeff, he was always in the Spiral.
and they're fun to watch.
Yeah.
They
That's
are, yeah.
I think
We love watching.
you streamed that before, didn't you?
Yes, I did,
I watched that a couple times.
and I'm proud to say that I did. Like I'm very proud to say that I streamed Spyro multiple times. I
I
grew up.
watched you stream a lot of games like Psychonauts. That was entertaining to watch too.
Yeah, Psychonauts was amazing. I still need to go back and finish that shit when I'm in the mood for it or whenever I feel like it. Because, like, Psychonauts 2 is a great accomplishment and with a good story behind it. I guess the developers ran out of money. And then out of nowhere, Microsoft comes in and he's like, hey, we'll spot you the money. Take all the time you need. Complete your vision, complete your game. We got you. So Microsoft came in and took them on and paid them and gave them all that stuff. And then the next thing you know, Psychonauts 2 comes out. And it even got nominated for Game of the Year. It didn't win any award, surprisingly, but I'm sure it got a numerous amount of nominations. But when you're nominated for Game of the Year, that is a big accomplishment in and of itself. And that game actually takes a while to like complete, and there's tons to do. It was really a game made with heart, really. I mean, that game, like, it looks good, it plays well, there's plenty of stuff to do. It's very interesting and it's entertaining. The characters are awesome. It's got a cartoony feel and a vibe to it. I wouldn't say it's cheesy by any means either. I mean, it's fairly like balanced. Like there's games that have a whole bunch of cheese, right? But to a point to where they become cringe, but Psychonauts is not like that at all. So I would
Psychonauts was the only game you didn't have to play it a certain way to be good at it. You can play it any way you want.
yeah, that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
That's what games are. I mean, it's like what's that
It's
movie?
like game.
Go
It's
ahead.
like games now that come out. You have to play them a certain way to succeed in them. I don't like that.
Yeah. When you can play a game and not be good at it but still enjoy the shit out of it, you got a good game on your hands.
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
like if you're not good at a
Yeah,
game but you still enjoy playing it and you come back for more, that's a good game.
The one game I thought I would never like is Monster Hunter. You ever heard of that game?
I've heard of it and I've seen a few clips and stuff like that, but I don't know if I'd be so much into that.
Like I was no good at this game, but I was having fun at it.
Yeah. Call of Duty used to be that way. I mean,
Yeah.
I sucked at COD, but I still looked forward to playing it whenever a new game came out. I didn't.
Black Ops One, I was terrible at that game, but I still had fun on it.
Yeah, you still enjoyed it.
Yeah, I had a negative KD, but I was still going.
Yep, same here. Same here. There were
Um,
times when I was in the mood when I was like, okay, I'm gonna level up. I'm gonna play as much as I can and level up, and it doesn't matter. I mean, the thing is, that game was also had a way of getting you addicted. It's like, okay, I got this many kills this game. It's like, okay, let's see if I can get some more kills in this game. Like in the next game, it's like, let's see how many kills I can. You had that itch to where it's like, okay, let me get one more kill, or let me, yeah, Black Ops, man. Let me tell you something. I think a lot of games that have become less simple, uh, to a certain extent, have been bad. I mean, there's nothing wrong with like some complication, but seriously, like they sometimes things get overcomplicated and they keep it, and it's been like it's just not simple. And I think that turns a lot of players off, especially new gamers or casual gamers. They like stuff that's easy.
The last time I played Call of Duty was Vanguard on my nephew's PlayStation. That game was so inconsistent. Like one game, the aim assist would be too strong, and then the next game there would be no aim assist. It'll be so broken I can't even. I'm having problems aiming my gun. It's
Yeah,
like going all over the place.
yeah, that's the pattern, my friend, at work.
And like I'm playing on my nephew's account, and my nephew's not that great at Call of Duty. He's probably like a .28 KD, a 0.28 KD.
Yeah,
And that game was so unbalanced. I quit after like 4 games.
yep, yeah, because of the patent that they put in there, which is ridiculous.
And you said my nephew loves Call of Duty. He was probably like 6 years old at the time, and he thought the game was broken. He goes, "My game is broken. I need a new controller." I'm like, "It's not your controller, buddy. It's the game. It's not your controller."
Yeah, and then you'd be having a really long conversation trying to explain it to him, but he's only
Yeah, but
six. He's
then he
not.
went to then he went to Fortnite. He said, "Forget this game. I'm going to Fortnite."
Well,
Yeah.
Fortnite is the lesser of two evils.
Nah, he still plays Fortnite to this day. 2 years later.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I'd gotten into battle royale, but
I
I just battle royale is not for me. Respectfully speaking, I have respect for the franchise in terms of what they've accomplished. I don't like what they've done to certain other games, but that's not necessarily their fault. But no, I wish I'd gotten into battle royale games, but I just couldn't do it. Even Blackout. I mean, I played a few games of Blackout, couldn't get into it. Went back to the multiplayer. I'm like, I gotta slay shit normally in order for me to get that. I can't. I don't want to wait. And but the thing is, for a lot of people, waiting for that thrill of possibly getting first place is where it's at for them. But for me, that's not even it. I don't like to play one life games.
Yeah, because
And-
everybody's too scared to move in a battle royale. You die, yeah, that's it. You
yeah,
gotta go find a new lobby.
yeah.
And when
So
and when you're in the lobby, it's like so quiet. Nobody's moving around. They're on top of a building, picking off from a sniper rifle with a sniper rifle.
yeah,
It's not fun doing that. I like games like multiplayer. You die, you come back, you respawn and come back.
yeah. I don't understand Minecraft very well, but I will say this: from some of the things that I've seen that Minecraft players have created, I am absolutely impressed by the level of creativity.
Oh yeah, I love watching Minecraft and with my nephews and my niece. I used to watch them for the longest when I used to watch them. Um, yeah, they used to build planets.
Yeah. No, a lot
Yeah,
of
they're
people
so
like a lot
creative.
of
Yeah.
people play Minecraft. It's ridiculous of what they're able to build. Like even with Forge in Halo Infinite right now, and in terms of the tools that they put into Forge, you got players creating ridiculous things right now in Forge and in Halo. Like
Hmm.
they've created ridiculous things. I mean, one of the first things that I saw was Andy's room from Toy Story as a multiplayer level. They created that, and obviously I made a video about it, and I showed people the footage. That's the footage I used as the background during the commentary, and stuff like that is very impressive. Like how people are able to create that from
Hmm.
from using visuals that they see online, or maybe from watching the movie and stuff like that. It is impressive, man. There's a lot of people out there that belong in the game creation world, whether it's the form of art or whether it's the form of coding and all that kind of stuff, that truly belong in there because of their level of dedication and passion. You know, they may not have the degree, which sucks, but in terms of the creativity, they have all the tools they need. That's the thing. Like I remember they did an interview with David Vonderhaar back in about Black Ops 4 or something like that, and he's like, you know, let's say I want to work for you at Treyarch, you know, what do you look for? He's like, what have you created? That's what I look for. Like, what have you done? Something of that nature. So it's like, and if you show, you know, you can show him like, hey, I created this in Forge and Halo, and then you show him this, and it's like, I'm just amazed. Like, and even with the world of YouTube, some of the things that people do is absolutely insane. Like some of the
Mhm.
things that people are able to do from their creativity is just absolutely like it's flooring to me. It's absolutely flooring to me. There's a lot of talented people out there. A lot of talented people, and it's really cool with the power of the internet how we get to see that because I think it's something that needs to be seen. The amount of talent that people have, the amount of creativity that they have, and they're able to express themselves through art that way is really impressive. And even when it comes to games, you know, I mean, how can like we all three of us love games in pretty much every single form. And even though we don't play every single type of game, we what do? We kind of sometimes we watch these games that we don't play and or to a certain extent, and then we see somebody who accomplishes something very amazing when they play a certain game, and you can't help but be impressed. Like whether they're getting through the game on the hardest difficulty without being touched, or just being able to get through a game um, extremely fast, or whatever it is. It's really impressive. I mean, it's not just limited to people that play competitive games. It's also about what people can do with single player games and stuff like that. To me, is just damn impressive. And some of these people are extremely young, and of course, obviously, some of them are older as well because they grew up in the generation that we did. But the thing is, like, one thing that I keep wondering is like, what's going to be that new? Like right now, battle royale has over the last 5-6 years or whatever, however long it's been, it's taken the world by storm, right? It's like every game has to have a battle royale nowadays for those type of games.
Yeah, because the Young Bucks, they like Battle Royale.
But it's like, what's gonna be next? Like what's gonna come up next that is gonna have people like addicted to it? Because honestly, it's kind of like I almost feel left out because I just don't like battle royale. With all due respect, it's just not my thing, not for me. So it's like, what's gonna be that next genre of gaming or that game type that's gonna be fairly fresh and new or a different spin on an already existing type of genre? Like, what
That's
is
the
going to
million
be
dollar
next?
question.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
like, what is going to be next? And it's like, I think part of the secret formula is that the game needs to be like stress free to an extent. Like, and I mean like negative stress. I mean like I'm talking about like, okay, positive stress is fine, but negative stress like needs to be out. It's like for instance, when you're trying to beat a single player game or you're trying to complete a single player game, there's no negative stress. It's more like I want to do everything there is to do in this game. And you just keep grinding because you love the way the game plays and you enjoy the process of getting better. And everything is actually fair. It's you versus the AI or whatever. So it's like it's a challenge to be able to do that. So it's like what is going to be that next genre of game that takes the world by storm? Like right now, it's in the form of a shooter, whether it's first person or third person, in the form of battle royale. That's where it's at right now. But it's like what is next? You know, because like for instance, Shroud said his game is like going to be an open world survival game.
Survivor.
Yeah,
But
open
I mean,
world open world survival.
that can mean various things. Like it could be like a zombie game, a zombie apocalypse type of game.
No, I don't think so. I think it's gonna be a multiplayer game, and I know it's gonna be a shooter because that's what he's into. Um,
Oh, another question is he gonna put the skill based matchmaking in it? In it?
he better not. I think he knows better than that. Like have a ranked or do
Does he have
something like
Fortnite?
that.
Does he like Fortnite? Shroud?
I think he's played it a few times, but right now I think he enjoys Tarkov, and he also enjoys what's Valorant.
Oh, that's what it could be. It could be like something like Tarkov.
Yeah, but Doctor Disrespect is kind of doing something like that, but I don't know. Who knows? I don't know.
He's making a first person game, first person shooter, right?
Yeah, yeah, but it's kind of like a battle royale, but kind of different, I guess, in a way. And
Battle Royale
Laura put
definitely helped me out.
and Laura put a question in the chat. Happy St. Patty's Day. Who would win, Chucky
Oh
or
yeah, today.
Chucky versus Leprechaun?
Chucky.
Leprechaun.
I'm going man Chucky.
And remember, we're
Chucky.
not talking about popularity here. We're talking about who would win in a fight.
Papa. And a fist fight, no abilities, no nothing, just straight up fist fight.
Oh no. We're talking like everything Chucky can do versus what Leprechaun can do.
I don't know, man, because Chucky knows that voodoo, not the voodoo, right?
Yeah, but Leprechaun has a bunch of powers up his sleeve, so.
Yeah, but if you take his pot of gold, he's weak.
I don't know. From what I've
Right?
seen, if somebody takes his pot of gold, he's not weak. He's just like I think if his gold gets destroyed, he's weak. But
he's weak.
yeah, but if you just take it away, it just pisses him off.
I don't know. That'd be. I like Chucky. I like both of them. I love both the movies. You know, I love both the franchises.
Yeah.
Except for when the Leprechaun went in space. That's when it fell off.
Oh my
Yeah, but
god,
then-
that's the best one.
but then
I like when he was in the hood.
I was about to say, yeah, he went to the hood twice.
When he went to outer space, I was like, okay, cut this off. I'm done.
That one was my favorite.
I remember my nephew put that movie on. I walked right out the room. 5
That
minutes
was
into it, I was like, I got up and I was like, forget this.
Uh,
I was like, they don't make Chucky go in space. What the hell?
which is almost surprising.
The Chucky movies, after the third Chucky, that went downhill.
True, very true.
Yeah, they started turning it into a comedy. But
yeah, especially the one where he killed Britney Spears. I was like, come on.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, I agree with Jack. I think that Leprechaun would definitely kick Chucky's butt.
I think it'll be a good fight. I'm not going to tell you the winner because I don't know who would win.
I'm surprised they haven't made a fighting game with all the horror icons in it yet.
If it was a straight up fist fight, I say Chucky would win. But if they got to use their powers, Leprechaun wins.
Oh man, I think I'm still kind of surprised that they haven't made.
But you put me in the fight, make it a triple threat, I'll kick both their asses.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
You imagine I'm trying to fight you, man? They'd be trying to bite my ankles.
Oh shit, Chucky would be armed though.
Yeah, I'll give him any type of weapon he wants. I'll squash him. I'm just kidding.
So, what would you say was your favorite console of all time?
My favorite console of all time, Sega. I love Sega Genesis.
Oh, the Genesis. Okay.
Oh yeah, I like them all, dude.
I'm actually surprised that I actually owned every Sega console there ever was.
I like Atari.
The OG Atari.
I like Atari because I love Pitfall. I used to. That's the first game I ever played was Pitfall.
And now you're talking retro over here.
Yeah, that was the first system. Like that's what got me into video games. And then Nintendo came out, and I seen Mega Man. I was like, oh, my brother rented it, and he was playing in front of me. I'm like, what is this game? I'm like, this looks pretty damn cool. And that's how I got into Mega Man.
Okay. And
the first Ninja Gaiden game I played was Part 2. I love that game.
Okay.
A lot of good games. Chrysalis. You got to YouTube that. That's a great game. You're a character. There's 8 worlds, 8 different swords you got to collect.
Hmm.
Like you got the water sword, you got the tornado sword, all kinds of that stuff. It's like Zelda, but you get a different sword each world. Uh, that's all I remember from that game, but that was a good game.
If you were Phil Spencer, the head of Xbox, what would your next move be right now?
Well, my
What
next move be
Yeah, what would you do? What if you had that kind of power in your hands, what would you try to get done?
Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, so you wait a
I
minute. You mean you'd go after Rockstar to buy them?
go for the throat, man. Everybody loves that game. Grand Theft Auto 5 made $6.5 billion.
Yeah, but they only come out once every 5 to 6 years.
But it's a gold mine. But that game is built to last for years because you got the story mode, the online, everything. It will generate a couple billion. Not only that, you get not only Grand Theft Auto, you get like you can bring back Max Payne, Manhunt. I don't know if you remember that game.
Nope, can't say I do.
Man,
Would you um shit. So what do you
is
think?
Call
What do you think
is Call
about?
of Duty really going to be an Xbox exclusive?
No, no, it's not going to be exclusive. They already said that they're not making it exclusive, and I believe them because they'd be shooting themselves in the foot. And as a matter of fact, they gave contracts out to, like, for instance, even Nintendo to allow for Call of Duty to play on their thing on their thing for like 10 years. So it's not going to be exclusive. They want to expand. They want to make it even more crossplay than it already is.
Good.
So
That means this.
yeah, no, Call of Duty's not going to be exclusive. Sony's just, trying to make that seem like it's the thing because that's what they did with Bethesda. But Call of Duty is not, again, the things that it's different when you got Bethesda games and it's different with Call of Duty. Call of Duty is meant to be played by like everybody. Bethesda games are a lot like Nintendo games. They're exclusive, so they needed, back when they first bought Bethesda a few years before they went for this, they I mean, it's what they needed because one of the things that Microsoft has been missing is exclusivity. So it's like, okay, let's take care of that, and we're going to get Bethesda, and they got Bethesda. So, and that's when they made those exclusive. But they don't want to make Call of Duty exclusive. Could they? Sure, but they're not going to. It makes no sense to. They'd actually would make more money in just trying to expand that game to let more players play it among multiple consoles, as opposed to
Xbox
just
definitely need new IPs.
yeah. No, they're working. I mean, you got Redfall and Starfield coming out. You got the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game coming out, obviously, and a few other games that they're working on coming out. So they definitely do need to make new IPs. But they own like what 23 studios now, and that's one of the reasons why they invested in that. So, and then of course you got the guys that made Psychonauts 2 that are working on another game. I don't know if it's going to be Psychonauts 3 or a different game, but those guys have already shown how much heart they have. They've already shown through Psychonauts 2, they showed what they're capable of doing. So you give those guys the right budget and the right timeline, they could make really, really good games. There's absolutely no doubt about that whatsoever. So whatever it is that those guys are going to make is going to be great. Obviously, Gears 6 is on the way, but that's like, just a sequel.
You're
Yeah, you can't.
probably another year away.
Yeah, you can't. You can't. And the thing is, you can't just rely on sequels. As heartbreaking as it is to say, you can't just rely on sequels. So, and the thing is this, like with Sony and Nintendo, to name the other two guys, like they have a lot more that they can bring back that they haven't brought back in a long time than Xbox does. Because Xbox, like for the longest time, it was just Halo, and then after Halo 3, they created Gears, and that was the next big thing. But that's kind of been their Achilles heel, is their exclusives, really. But from their exclusives that they did make were really good. But the problem is right now, some of their exclusives are a little bit lacking. Gears was good as far as I understand, but like Halo took a hit. I mean, Halo Infinite, like Xbox does not want another repeat with Halo Infinite. They don't want any other game to go through what Infinite had to go through and all that kind of stuff. So
Added skill-based matchmaking in that, didn't they?
mm-hmm.
That's what kills multiplayer games, is the strict skill-based matchmaking.
Well, they have it in ranked, and then they have something softer for pubs. So
I never thought they would have had strict skill-based matchmaking in football and hockey games too.
Yeah, they're seeing it as a way to protect new players, but they don't know that they're actually shooting themselves in the foot doing that. They don't know that, because companies, what do companies see? What's the language that all these corporates understand? And that's money language, right? So if they see that a game has implemented skill-based matchmaking, and that game is just so happened to be making a ton of money because of the microtransactions as well, it's like, well, we're going to do what they do, because everything that they're doing seems to be working, so we're going to do it too. But they don't know it as deep as the players that actually play the game. I mean, a lot of these corporates, man, they don't even play games. Seriously, even though they might run a gaming company, it doesn't mean that they necessarily play games. I think that's where Microsoft kind of has a head up, because like Phil Spencer actually plays games. So it's important to actually play games if you're going to be the head of a gaming company, because you really need to truly know your product, like firsthand. But unfortunately, in the corporate world, it's like knowing the product firsthand by actually playing it isn't really required in order to make that product financially successful, because all you have to do is implement a few things, and here comes the money, and that's it. It's like, we don't care what you do, just do it. And it's like, oh, okay, we're going to do skill-based matchmaking, we're going to put microtransactions and battle passes and stuff like that, we're going to protect those new players so that way we can keep them coming back to playing more and more and spending more and more, and we're going to put a system in that they're not aware of. Like 90+% of gamers out there, okay, like most of them do not have any idea about there being a patent in Call of Duty for where it's rigged, or that there's skill-based matchmaking in this game or in that game or whatnot. They don't know it. They have no idea. They just go in and they have a good time playing their game, and then that's it. There's nothing really more to it. They have no idea about all this other stuff.
The skill-based matchmaking and everything now, even Madden and NHL hockey games.
Yeah, and I'm surprised. I'm actually surprised that Madden still makes as much as it does or whatnot, to a certain extent.
Hockey,
they're copying and pasting like everything.
Their skill-based matchmaking works between if you're in the bronze, silver, or gold class, or diamond.
Yeah.
Like if you're in the bronze, is the weak players. Silver is you're in the middle. Gold is tough, and diamond division is really tough.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm going to say this right now. In terms of, competitive, I don't mind even to a certain, like, here's the thing. Call of Duty was one of the reasons why Call of Duty became successful was because it was a casual arcade first-person shooter. It was not meant to be a competitive game, right? So they managed to put the beauty of single-player games and the joy and the fun of single-player games into a multiplayer shooter, and that is how it became big, right? So, and then what happened? I lost my train of thought. And then what happened was they started taking that away. Like, Call of Duty was never meant to be a competitive shooter. That's part of the problem, is that they're making it competitive, and they're
it's supposed to be casual, right?
Yeah, it always was. I mean, what's the point, for instance, now in having more than one of each weapon class into that game, right? Because people are going to look for the best weapon and the best attachments and stuff like that, and they're not going to go back to anything else because, well, I don't mind I don't mind playing against people of my own skill, but the big thing I do mind is when they start messing with your bullets and when they start messing with your connection on the fly, on the dot, because of the patent and all that kind of stuff. Like, You know,
Because if
if I
they're
and messing with the aim assist and all that other shit and the matchmaking times, you name it. That's what I have a problem with.
yeah,
Like it's one thing.
like
It's
there's
one thing to run into an even playing field of other players that are around your skill level, but it's a whole other thing to have all the best players in the lobby on one team and you're alone by yourself with a whole bunch of people that have no thumbs. And to top it all off, whenever you start doing well, all of a sudden the game will spawn you where somebody's already shooting in your direction before you even know what the hell's going on. Or,
on you.
aim assist bugs out in the middle of a gunfight.
You're dead before you can take one step.
Yeah. And then, what's it called? Your aim assist bugs out in the middle of a gunfight. Or things like that.
Or if you're behind somebody, the enemy, you start shooting, and they just turn around. You put like 10 bullets in them, and then they turn around and kill you in 2 shots.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. That's the
Then they got the microtransactions. I don't like the microtransactions at all.
No, most people don't.
But if you're gonna put microtransactions in a game, don't make gun variants. Just make new guns. I hate gun variants in a game.
I don't mind variants as long as they're only cosmetic.
Yeah, but I will never pay for them.
No, but at the same time, you're not a casual in there either. Casuals will pay for them. And speaking of which, check this out. I read this story yesterday. So I read this and I couldn't believe what I was reading. So you know the game CS:GO, right?
Yes.
Somebody dropped $150,000 for a camo, for a skin in
One
that
camo.
game. I don't know what the camo was, but for a fucking gun skin, they dropped $150,000.
And they must have money like that. Because I would, even if I had money like that, I would never do anything like that.
Yeah, I know. But the thing is this, like, you see what I'm getting here? It's like, obviously most people won't spend that kind of money, but the thing is that's like a really hardcore person that dropped that kind of money. But check this out. Like, the casuals of the casual, they will drop a few bucks here and there and get a camo or whatever it is, right? It's the hardcore players that would rather grind to get it, or won't go for it at all because it's overpriced, or because they know it's just, the camo doesn't make a difference. But the casuals are like, hey, this looks cool. Like going back to what we were talking about last week. Casuals care more about graphics in a game than the hardcore players. They like the fact that if something looks real and looks pretty. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like it when something looks real and pretty as well. But it's not going to, like, for me, it's like, okay, that's great, but it doesn't make the experience for me. But for somebody who's a lot more casual and doesn't play as often and stuff like that, that means a lot to them, because it's like, wow, this looks great. This is amazing. It hits them differently. So for players like me and you who've been playing for a while, it's like, okay, like, graphics are going to look good no matter what. They don't have to be the best looking game. I mean, we care more about performance. We want the game to run well. We want everything to flow correctly and stuff like that. We care about performance. Like, for instance, like, let's say this game here in the game that I've got posted up here, Mario 64. Now, if they were to remaster this game, I would put it on performance mode so that way I could maximize the smoothness of the game in terms of the gameplay. I wouldn't put it in graphics mode to where the performance wouldn't be as good, but the graphics would be amazing. Most gamers would want the graphics. Like, that's why they say, this game can run at 4K at 60 frames a second. Like this is on 4K and stuff like that. I mean, that's why 4K is promoted the way it is, and it's promoted more than the frame rate. And on top of that, most casuals don't know or even care about frame rate. At least not yet. But there will come a time when they will, and then that's going to be the next thing. And then after that, it's like, we're going to be sitting back going, see, we told you so. I mean, it's like, you don't get it. So, but for casuals, it's all about graphics, man. They care about graphics. Like, you release a remastered game, all those guys are gonna get it. Like, or if you release a game that just looks really good or whatnot, like, that's why Horizon Forbidden West, I think it was, for PlayStation 5. I mean, that game was just gorgeous. Like, when I saw the gameplay for the first time on that thing, I was like, wow, that game looks gorgeous. But beyond that, it's like, okay, it looks gorgeous, but is that itself going to be enough for me to purchase that game? No. But for your casual audience, just for that game looking as good as it does, they will drop $70 to play a game that looks that pretty on it. I guarantee you. Most of them will drop $70. Just like it's pretty much a guarantee that a lot of casual people that are playing Fortnite, if they see something cool that looks unique in the battle pass or however else it is, or in the shop, in the store, that costs like, let's say $10, they will buy it, and they'll make a continuous purchase of like, let's say, once or twice a month, 10 or $20. That adds up. It's going to be more than the regular price of the game. So all of a sudden, who's worth more of your money? Like, who's the better consumer? The one that plays your game more, or the one that spends money more, regardless of how much they play?
Right.
So that's the way they see it. Like, who's more valuable? Like, even in the restaurant business, right? The customer that keeps coming back every day, but only gets like a cup of coffee, or the customer that comes like, let's say, once or twice a month, but gets the most expensive thing on the menu.
Yeah. Right.
So that's how they see it. It's like, okay, what are gamers interested in? I'm sure they did polls about this. It's like, what do you hear about, like, like RMD? Do you know people that are casual gamers, like really casual, like that play every once in a while? Or is everybody that pretty much like an above casual level of gamer?
The younger kids I know like play them all the time. My nephew buys all the microtransactions in Fortnite.
Have you ever heard somebody say, whether they're an adult or whatever, like that may be casual or whatnot, man, I want to get this because the graphics look really good? Have you ever heard that before?
No, most of my friends don't care about the frame rate. They just, if it look, they don't care about the they don't get into details. If the game looks good to them, they'll play it.
Right. The first thing I hear is about the graphics, my friend.
Oh, yeah, my friends, all they care about is mainly the graphics. My friends don't know nothing about frame rates, nothing.
Yeah, no,
I mean, the people I know, if the game looks good, they'll play it.
Like, for instance, I heard one of my old supervisors, like he's like, yeah, I'm getting a PS5. The graphics on that are amazing. That's like the first thing they say is like, the graphics are amazing.
I ran into one person that claims that PS5 graphics are better than the Series X graphics, and it was my cousin-in-law's best friend, and I'm trying to tell him, like, look, I don't care about that, man. I'm going with the Series X.
Yeah, well, first of all, like, it depends. Like, graphics, like, in terms of power wise, they're both pretty close. The PlayStation does a couple of things better. I think the PlayStation is like faster. But the Xbox has a little bit more firepower as far as, the graphics department in terms of the firepower that it has, or the graphic capabilities that it could potentially have or something like that. But all in all, they're about the same. So
same to me.
Yeah, they're about the same. So it's all about who the developer is and what they make of it. That's why PlayStation is so successful as well. Like, look at God of War Ragnarok. There's no doubt that God of War Ragnarok looks absolutely stunning on the PS5, right? And it runs stunning and stuff like that, or for Horizon Forbidden West, those games look stunning. That's why they do showcases, because it's like, look how good our game looks. And then, of course, since Xbox doesn't have too many exclusives and stuff like that, and its games don't necessarily are not optimized the way they should be, right? It's like, okay, like your casual fan is going to make a comparison. It's like, okay, which game looks better? They're going to judge a book by the cover. That's how people make money. It's like they know what you're going to go for. You're going to judge by its cover, and you're going to make a decision off of that. Because that's how it is. When you don't know much about stuff, you're going to go with what you see and go from there, because you don't know any better. The thing is, they don't know any better, so they're getting taken advantage of, but they just don't know it. So it's beyond just graphics, man. But because you can even give them a bad game with like amazing graphics, and they'll be like, "Yeah, the game kind of sucks, but man, the graphics are awesome. I just love getting back into this game and just looking at the graphics or whatever."
Only thing I see the difference is when one's brighter than the other. Like when I seen PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X side by side, one looks darker than the other. That's the only thing I can notice.
Yeah, I mean, usually that's it, but again, all you have to do is change some settings, and then you're
Dude, but
that,
that don't bother me. Rather, if it's bright, I'm like, if they both look good, they look good to me.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, but but you get the point though, right? It's like
yeah,
it's all about the it's all about the casuals, man, because those guys are the majority of the base. I mean, like it or hate it, it's the truth. They're the majority of the base, and that's where the problem. Well, it's not a problem per se, but um,
and,
that's the priority right there. They're the priority. We're very much
and
secondaries.
in my perspective, I'd rather have the game run good.
Yeah, but
Like performance is good. I prefer performance.
of course you do. Of course you do, because you're not the average gamer today.
And the young bucks, I tell them that. Like the young kids, I tell the kids that, and they're like, "Oh no, I prefer graphics." I'm like, I played on Nintendo when I was a kid. I'm more about the performance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not gonna you're not gonna change their minds about that. You know, they people like the stuff that looks good. It's simple as that. They always have, and they're implementing it into gaming. So, and ultimately, at the end of the day, what you want to do as a creator is get games that look good and play good, and then that's pretty much it. So,
It's all about the performance.
yeah, yeah, 100%, 100%. So, those are my thoughts on that. So, um,
The new generation of the new generation of kids are spoiled.
Oh, absolutely.
They're spoiled. They haven't played on a Nintendo or Atari or even a PlayStation 1 because they wasn't born when that came out. Or
yeah,
they're used to when they were born. PS3, PS4, and Xbox 360 and stuff were all out.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. They don't know any better. They don't know any better. That's how they grew up at this point. So that's the norm to them. So unfortunately, that's pretty much the case. You know, that's why I feel happy to have grown up in the generation that I grew up in. So I got to see and experience the transition for myself, and I
When I bought my PS. I'll tell you this story. Whenever I bought my PS4, right, there was about a 17-year-old kid behind me, and maybe younger than that. I paid cash for it, and he did not know what cash was
wow,
Yeah.
because he was so used to paying with a card. And I pulled out cash money. He didn't know what that was. Like, you never seen cash money before? This is money, buddy. And blew my mind.
Oh God.
yeah, my goodness, wow,
Like, he did not know what I was pulling out.
Oh my
wow,
I'm like, this is money. And I was like, wow, I can tell you pay with a card.
wow. So if you gave him so if you got $100 in cash, you wouldn't know.
He wouldn't know what it is. He'd be like, what is this? A gift certificate?
Oh
Wow,
God.
I probably think that was a gift certificate or something. He did not know what cash money was.
Oh my
I was like,
God.
I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Your parents never told you about cash money.
They need like
Uh,
a finance option in school. Like, what do they teach these kids? Jeez.
uh, like when my daughter was born, I taught her everything. Like what I knew, I was teaching her. Make sure she knew about it.
Like, yeah, like my parents taught me how to, balance a checkbook and, you know.
I taught my daughter math by letting her count cash money. I gave her like physical dollars, and that's how I taught her before she started kindergarten.
Wow.
But that kid, that blew my mind. That definitely blew my mind. I was like, you don't know what this is. I'm like, oh my God.
Mm,
Poor thing.
I just went on my way. I was like, okay, have a good day.
yeah.
Any idea how old the kid was?
He was probably like definitely a teenager. This is when PlayStation 4 first came out. I think I was 31, I think, when it came out.
All right.
So this kid had to been at least 14 or 15.
Okay.
Wow.
So as we get closer to the end of this episode, and tomorrow we're going to be talking about movies. So we're going to switch from gaming and we're going to go into movies tomorrow. So that's
Uh,
I'm looking forward to that. And I know RMD, I know you're going to love that. I know you're going to have a field day with that.
we're gonna do scary movies.
Oh, it's going to be everything, man. We're not, you know how it is around here. Like if we talk about games, we're not going to limit any game, and the same thing goes with movies.
All right, I'm
So,
gonna download the Ghostface app.
well,
I'm gonna talk about
the thing is also another thing that's important is see that's the thing. It's like it just goes show see because you're very much into that genre and you know a lot more and stuff like that. That is where your point of view and your expertise on the subject becomes that much more valuable. And what happens is, there's going to be times, man, where you're going to be taking over the podcast, right? We're doing this show right here together and stuff like that. But when all of a sudden we go into a subject that you know a lot about, it's very easy for me, for instance, to sit back and listen to what you're saying and to go along by your lead because and that's another thing that you guys I want you guys to do. It's like because everybody specializes and has their own strengths and weaknesses, right? And everybody has different fields of knowledge about all sorts of different subjects. So it's like when a subject comes up that you know a lot about, it's like boom, take over and do it naturally. And then, no different than any normal conversation. So it's like all of a sudden, the things you have to say all of a sudden take the helm. You're taking point from there on out on the subject because you know so much about it. And the same thing with you, Laura. And the thing is like that's another reason, one of the many reasons why I want to also talk about movies. And I've been doing the movie com thing. I've been enjoying that. Apparently people have too because the views say it all. So it's like having a podcast with talking about movies is going to be a big fucking deal. Like not for channel's sake, but like I'm just saying, like in general, it's an area of interest, for all three of us, and at the same time, it keeps things fresh. If we're gonna be doing weekend podcasts and stuff like that, it's like you got to change things up. You got to have at least one with games. And you got to have at least one with movies. You know, so and it's
Yeah.
and
It'd
and
be so
you
much fun.
and you guys know a lot about this subject, as do I. So it's like, why the hell not? So take that initiative to take over if need be. Like I honestly have zero problems like chilling back for like 5 to 10, give or take, minutes at a time and just listening to what you guys have to say. Because at the end of the day, I'm still a fan. We're all fans. So it's like it kind of lets the person that's not talking kind of be a fan. And then when they initiate the conversation, it's like that's what I personally enjoy. Um, so yeah. So as we get ready to close soon in this episode, what would you say, like RMD, Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter? You
Did
still
we
there?
lose him?
Still there, bud?
Yeah. My mic. Sorry, my mic cut out real quick. Definitely Mortal Kombat because of the gore.
Okay. All right. Laura?
Yeah, I was gonna say Mortal Kombat.
For
Yeah.
for
Plus,
for the
how
same
how can you not go wrong?
for the same reason as RMD, or do you have your own specific reason?
Oh, well, for the ladies in the game, just very anatomically correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Mortal Kombat. There's not one character I dislike. I like them all.
I
Okay.
do too. Yeah,
Okay.
true.
Okay. All right. Um Do you think that Fable might get announced in the upcoming months? Or I'm sorry, not announced. Do you think that they might show Fable? That's another thing I forgot to talk about. Fable, because Microsoft's
Yes,
working
I
on
think.
Fable.
Yes, I think it's over. It's been overdue to bring out a new Fable game.
Okay. Laura, when do you think that they're gonna actually show something about the next Elder Scrolls game?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. That
Because
is
it's
a hard
because you know
one.
Microsoft is working on it, but Elder Scrolls games take a long ass time to produce. Like the
Yeah.
last one was Skyrim, right, guys?
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts too. That's the thing. Yeah.
Well, it's been a while since Skyrim
Yeah,
came
they
out.
remastered it once or twice, didn't they?
You know, a game I hope they announce that hasn't. It's been a while. Another Fusion Frenzy.
Another Fusion
Hmm.
Frenzy. You think they'd actually go for
Yeah,
that?
I'm hoping. I don't know if they'll do it, but I'm hoping that another Fusion Frenzy will come out.
Okay. All right.
Um, Fable's overdue, so they should definitely come out with that.
Yeah, that's another thing. I've never played Fable, but I just kept hearing so many good things about it.
I played a little bit of it, but it's what is that? It's like it's an RPG, but it's more action based RPG.
Okay. Okay,
But
so please inform me on this. Like, what's the difference between like a textbook just RPG and then action RPG?
action RPG is you don't choose it with a button. You can just go ahead. Action RPGs you just do it. The fighting is more freely. Like you can just go up and swing your sword.
Okay.
It's not like straight up RPG like Final Fantasy where you pick your attacks. Like for example, if you play Final Fantasy and F1 is your ability to cure your team, and then F2 is to shoot fire at the enemy. That's the straight up RPG. Action RPG, you can move your character. It's like a Mass Effect. You got the elements of RPG. You can build your character. You can level them up. You can give them better armor. But then the action part is where you can actually do the action freely. Like if you got a gun, you can shoot it. Like you can spam the trigger at the enemy. You don't have to press one button to perform an attack, like on a
Okay.
straight up RPG.
I
Hmm.
see. Okay. So chances are I would be into an action RPG more than a traditional RPG.
If you love fast paced action RPG is the way to go.
Okay.
But if you like that slow pace where you like to pick your attacks and and the straight up RPGs, when you pick the attack, you don't move the character; he moves himself.
Uh-huh.
You don't do the motion. You just select the attack, and he'll do the running motion and swipe at him with the weapon he's holding.
Right.
Now, action RPG, you control it all the way through. You do the movement and you do the attack.
Okay.
Like on a like RPG, like say it's RPG and your character got a gun, you have to press a button and he'll shoot the gun himself.
Okay.
Like he'll do the motion and he'll shoot the gun himself.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and that's regular RPGs. Like I don't got the patience for those. I won't. I only play action RPGs.
Okay. Okay. I
Yeah,
see.
but that's the difference between action and straight up RPG. You don't do the motion. You just press the button and the character does it himself automatically.
So, Laura, I've always wanted to ask you this, and you know, I subconsciously I wanted to ask, but I just never did. Um, Now, obviously, I know as a casual that you are, I know that you like all games regardless of platform and stuff like that. However, if you had to choose a platform, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, PC, what's your go-to?
Well, my go-to is PC right now. Um, just because that's just basically um the platform I'm most comfortable with right now.
Okay.
I'm playing this game called Cats in the Castle.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's like a puzzle game. Um, and then there's another one, and I just got distracted because the cat is in my way.
So,
Um, anyway, uh, yeah, I'm just the most comfortable there. I've been on PC for the longest, and yeah, if I could bring one thing back though, I'd really like to bring back the old Game Boys because they're just so convenient. Um, and I just miss them so much, the nostalgia and just not the weight of them, obviously, but just like not being connected to Wi-Fi, just having them like the brick, old reliable, you know.
yeah,
Um,
those things used to eat up though your batteries like crazy though.
I know.
Yeah, I used to. God knows how much money my parents spent. And you know what? I also had. I had the. I had Sega's portable. I had the. I
Me
forgot.
too.
I forgot what it's called at this point. But you had to use six AA batteries to run that sucker. Six.
What was the name of that Sega portable?
I'm thinking about
I
it right now. I'm trying
forget.
to think. Game Gear,
I remember
Yeah,
a game.
Game Gear.
and
I was
it.
gonna say Sega CD, but that was something else.
Yeah, no Game Gear, and it was huge. If you thought the brick was huge, this thing was a fucking like. It was huge.
Yeah,
Was it bigger than the Switch?
I'm thinking. I
I
wish
think
I.
it
I
was.
wish I had a Switch. I'm
I'm
sure if
gonna
you did
Google a picture.
yeah, you can Google that shit and you could do a little comparison to see. But
Sega Game Gear. It was thicker, same length but thicker.
yeah, it was thick as hell and it had a pretty decent size screen on it. But it took
Ugly.
six batteries, man,
This thing is ugly. Oh yeah, I remember it has the two battery slots on the
in the
back.
back. Yeah, on the
Mhm.
left and right hand sides.
Oh
And
Oh my
yeah.
god, people were selling it on eBay for lots of money.
yeah, I had a. I played Mortal Kombat on that thing. It was pretty decent, but of course, it was nothing compared to the consoles at home. But yeah, no, the
Yeah, yeah, I did. I played Mortal Kombat on
You
there.
know, what- you know what's so crazy about that? That thing is monstrous, but the screen is so tiny.
I know.
yeah. But right now, I mean, do you know if people play a lot of games on their phones nowadays?
Oh yeah, yeah.
More than half my family plays games on their phone. My brother plays Texas Hold'em, I think.
But like games that are a little bit more graphically capable, because right now your average cell phone today is more powerful than a fucking 360.
I tried playing Call of Duty on my phone, but I couldn't do it. Like the controls were so weird.
Yeah. But again, there's
I was like,
still
oh my god, this. I'm like, this is how you shoot. I gave up after 2 minutes.
I'd say it's still popular though because of the fact that they still look pretty decent on the phone.
Hmm.
And then I tried hooking a controller up to it, and it was just straight up lag. Like it was that
Um,
it was a bunch of latency.
Yeah.
It was delayed.
Yeah.
Everything was delayed. It was weird. I didn't like it.
Yeah. But I think ultimately what it is it's just so appealing to people because it's very games look good generally on phones nowadays. But anyway, it's 12:39 a.m. at this point and we've been going over 2 hours. If it was earlier, I would keep going, but I know it's getting late and I don't want to keep you guys too long. And but with that being said, tomorrow we're going to be discussing movies and we're going to be on around the same time. Hopefully I'll get out of work a little bit sooner than I did today. but either way, we can we can go on. But yeah, is there anything that you guys want to talk about, like as a last few minutes topic before we close today? Is there anything you wanted to add, or is there anything, any questions or anything like any ideas for tomorrow, since we're going to be covering movies or anything like that? Like anything at all that you guys want to say or talk about?
Mm, no, not
Can't think.
really. I want it to be a surprise. I want it to be a surprise.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I mean, anything that you guys want to talk about specifically tomorrow, again, any ideas you get in the days in between, remember it's all good, just you guys have every right to take over as I do, so because you guys are the co-hosts after all. So, and eventually we're gonna get people in here, and people are gonna be talking in the chat, and it's gonna expand, and it's gonna, like, the viewpoints are gonna expand. So yeah, but I'd like to thank you guys for joining me once again. It's always fun. It's always a hell of a lot more fun to do this with you guys, and it's a whole lot of fun, and I want to keep doing it. So, and
Yeah.
and
Always
and,
good.
and yeah, tomorrow when we cover movies, I know that both of you are gonna have a lot more to say tomorrow when we're covering movies. I know that for a fact, especially you, RMD. I know that, because when we start talking about,
we don't. We start talking about Harry Potter, I'm going to be quiet.
yeah, but all of a sudden, if we start, but all of a sudden, if we start bringing up horror movies, it's game on at this point. So,
yeah, you bring up Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings, I'm going to be like this.
No, you know what the funny thing is? The funny thing is about those two movies, I never really got into them that much. But we can go into that tomorrow. But no, you'd be surprised sometimes. There's, as a big movie fan, there's some things that I would be ashamed to admit that I haven't seen that I should see. But we'll get that in. You guys can put the pressure on me tomorrow if you remember. but we can cover all that tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to that. And who knows? We might even get people that have been watching the movie comms or listening to the movie comms. We might get a few of those people in here, and they might be putting in their own 2 cents. So we'll see. But thank you once again to both.
I can't wait to talk about Cocaine Bear.
Okay, all right. Did you see it?
Oh yeah, I've seen it.
Okay, all right. Then we're gonna make that.
I've seen that and the new Scream. I've seen the new Scream too.
Okay, we're making those priority tomorrow. We're making those priorities. So be ready to take over, because I want to listen to what you have to say, especially since I haven't seen either of them yet. So,
Cocaine Bear, definitely movie of the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get into that. We'll get into that tomorrow. Save some for tomorrow. So, all right. Thank you very much to both of you for joining me, and to whoever who watches this later on or whatever the deal is. Thank you, and we'll catch you guys on the next one, and have a wonderful night, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for being here, guys.
Have a good night. Bye.
You too, brother. Bye.